everybody, for joining me today for our permanent residency through Express Entry workshop. My name is Filippo Savoni. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I'm also an international student advisor with the International Education Office at Durham College. So before I start, I just wanted to read this disclaimer. So this presentation was prepared by a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, or RCIC, in compliance with the Canadian Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. This is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Immigration laws and procedures change frequently, and so the requirements and procedure for applying for a permanent residency through Express Entry may have changed after this presentation. This presentation was prepared on August 20th, 2026. And I'd also like to read this land acknowledgement. We recognize the lands on which we gather are covered under the Williams Treaties and rest within the traditional territory of the Mississaugas, a branch of the Anishinaabe Nation, which also includes Algonquin, Chippewa, Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi. It is through the treaty process that we are able to live, learn, teach, and prosper in this region. We acknowledge with gratitude this land and the Indigenous peoples who have cared for and continue to protect Turtle Island, or North America, and its resources. We commit to the responsibility of reconciliation and the work of increasing awareness and understanding of our shared history. We do so by recognizing the past and working towards a shared future as friends and allies. It is important to note that the acknowledgement statement was created in consultation with Durham College's First Peoples Indigenous Center. To learn more about why we acknowledge the land and how to create your own land acknowledgement, visit the First Peoples Indigenous Center. So there are three streams under the Express Entry program: the CEC, the FSW, and the FST. I'll go over the eligibility requirements for each one in the upcoming slides. But as you can see on the slide, you can also find out if you're eligible by either using the online Come to Canada tool or by logging into your IRCC account and clicking on Apply to Come to Canada under the Start an Application button. So you would then, after that, click on Express Entry under I do not have a personal reference code. And then after that, you'll be directed to complete a questionnaire, which will determine which stream you are eligible for. So if you use the online tool, you'll be eligible, and you're eligible. The online tool will send you an online account to fill out an Express Entry profile. You'll follow the instructions to create an account if you don't already have one. And then you'll enter your personal reference code when it prompts you. So only, of course, if you have a personal reference code. And then after that, you'll enter your personal details. If you filled out the questionnaire in your secure accounts and you're eligible, you'll enter your personal details to create a profile, and then to complete your profile, you'll need information from certain documents like your language test results and your NOC job title and code, and I'll go over what a NOC is in the later slides. You may exit the profile at any time, so your information will be saved in your account. You have 60 days to complete and submit the Express Entry profile. So after that, you'll have to start again. So that's good in that it allows you to, it allows you 2 months to complete your profile and submit it. So step 3 is submit your Express Entry profile. So once you've filled out your profile, you can submit it online. And then based on the information you enter. IRCC will figure out which programs under Express Entry you'll be eligible for and may be invited to apply to. So that's also something that you should take note of. You can't choose the program you prefer when you create your profile. So out of the three there, you can't choose. The program itself will figure out which one you're eligible for and submit it your your application in that way. So I guess in a way though that is good because you don't have to figure out which one you're eligible. You don't have to go through all the eligibility criteria and figure out which one to choose. The program does that for you. All right, so let's go over each one of these streams here. So here's the table, the eligibility criteria table. And so as you can see, you'll need to submit a language test score in either English or French. And the CLB, or the Canadian language benchmark for English, has to be 7 for tier 0 or 1 occupations. And again, I'll go over what that means later on. And tier 5, sorry, and 5, CLB 5 for tier 2 or 3 occupations. So just a higher score for um, higher level occupation, I guess. So again, CLB stands for Canadian Language Benchmark, and the minimum scores required for each band of a test depends on the test you do. So I'll go ahead and share my screen now to show where you can find this information. So let me just stop sharing this one, and then I'll start sharing the other screen that shows the language test scores you'll need. So this is the IRCC's page on language test results. Okay, and these are the tests that they accept. Here are the English ones, here are the French ones, and then here are the requirements. So here are the 3 streams that I talked about just a moment ago. And again, the skills you need will depend on the group your job is classified under the NOC, or the National Occupation Classification System. So for CEC, or Canadian Experience Class, the minimum level for all 4 abilities are here. So you got NOC tier 0 or 1, English must be 7, 2 or 3 for CLB 5. Okay. And then for the FSW, you got minimum level for all 4, which is CLB 7. And then FST is CLB, well, you can read this for yourself here, but basically these are the minimum scores you'll need to have for either one of these streams. You can see here that your test results must be less than 2 years old. All right, and then you can actually go ahead and click on the stream itself, and it'll tell you what's required. So FSW, now let's say you did an IELTS test. Here are the minimum scores you'll need to be eligible for this stream here. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you for that. Let me just go ahead and stop sharing and go back. So the next thing you'll notice is the type or level of work experience. So Canadian work experience in an occupation listed in one or more of these NOC tier categories. So this is what you'll need as far as work experience is concerned with regards to the CEC, or this Canadian Experience class. And so like I said, I'm going to go over what NOC is, the NOC is. So again, the NOC is stands for the National Occupation Classification and is Canada's national system for describing occupations. So you can search the NOC and to find out like where your occupation is classified, or to learn about like their main duties, the educational requirements, and other information about the occupations. So I'll go ahead and show you what the NOC is or where you can find it. So let me just go ahead and do that now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to pull up the NOC here. So here's the NOC. So it allows you to search for the occupation that you might be interested in doing or that you are doing, just so that, let's say, you're not really sure what your job would be classified as, like what tier level. You can search it in the NOC and it'll tell you. So just to keep things simple, I like to look up baker in these workshops, and just to show you what it looks like. So if you search that, and also before I do that, I want to just let you know that there's an advanced search, so you can click on that, and you can search by like exact words or any of the words or none of the words. You can put in words you want to exclude, and then you can indicate these items here. You can select some of these items here to kind of be more specific with your search. So, and then there's this structure search here as well. So you can try to be more specific with your search with the advanced search option there. But again, just to keep things simple and considering the time that we have, I just go ahead and search for Baker, and this is what comes up. So we find Baker here, and when you click on that, it gives you the main duties and the description and the main duties, as well as example job titles. So you might not, if you are a baker, your job title might not be baker. It might be baker apprentice or baker supervisor or bread baker, head baker, that sort of thing. Also chocolate maker. So the thing is with the job titles, or sorry, the jobs that you find on the NOC is, in order to make sure that the job that you have or that you want to do is the one that you're looking at on the NOC, you have to make sure that the job description is exactly what your job description is. So this is the job description here. This has to be the same in order for it to be considered your NOC. Sorry, the job. Like if in order for this job that you find on the NOC to be considered yours. So again, it could be a different job title, and it could still be the same NOC. Like you can still have the same NOC code. So if this is the same as your job title, and if the main duties matches about 75% of your main duties, then you can be confident in saying that this code here is yours, and you can include it in your application. So again, this has to be 100% the same, and this can be 75%. All right, so let me just go back to my presentation or my slides. All right, so then after that, you'll notice that the next thing for the CEC or the eligibility requirements or criteria is the amount of work experience. So for CEC, you would need 1 year in Canada in the last 3 years, or a combination of full or part-time, in either full or part-time work. Job offer is not required, and education is not required. So next is the FSW, or the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Uh, these That's the language skill minimum requirement, as I showed you previously when I went over the language requirements page on IRCC, or on IRCC's website. So if you remember, CLB for the FSW was 7 for English or French. The type of work experience or level would be work experience in an occupation listed in one of the NOC categories, which is 0 to 3. This one does require work experience, so you would need at least 1 year of continuous work experience within the last 10 years. So that could be a combination of part-time or full-time work, or more than one job. A job offer is not required in this stream or this program, but you can get selection criteria points for having a valid job offer. So this stream here has a selection criteria portion of it, in which you would have to have a minimum score in order to move on to into the stream. The other ones don't. CEC and FST, or Federal Skilled Trades Program, does not. This one does have a selection criteria. And then in education, you would have to have a secondary education. Um, and so again, you can get more selection criteria points for your, well, not again, but you can also get FS selection criteria points for post-secondary education. And lastly, the Federal Skilled Trades Program. The language skills you would have to have are CLB 5 for speaking and listening, and 4 for reading and writing. Level of type or level of work experience. You'd have to have it in a skilled trade under key groups of tier 2 or 3. So this program is a little different than the other two in that your work experience would have to be in specific NOCs, right? So or I should just say jobs, or occupations under tier 2 or 3. It's not all occupations in tier 2 or all occupations in tier 3. They are specific occupations. So you'd be able to find this on IRCC's website. They have a very useful web page that compares the 3 streams. So if you just Google IRCC Express Entry stream comparison, I'm sure you'd find that there. And you'd be able to find out under the FST which occupations in tier 2 or 3 would be ones that are eligible under this program. Underneath that, you'll find the amount of work experience that you would need to be eligible for this stream or program, and that is 2 years within the last 5 years. And it could also be a combination of either full-time or part-time work. You do need a job offer for this program here. So a valid job offer of full-time employment for a total period of at least 1 year, or you can show a certificate of qualification. And then education is not required for this program. And that is it. So let me just stay on that for a sec here. Um, and yeah, okay, so that's pretty much it for the express entry program and the three streams or the three programs within it. So I'll go on to the next page here, which goes over the provincial nominee programs. So if you're interested in living in a particular or a specific province or territory, and you're interested in applying for one of their own programs, you can visit their official government website that go over the programs to determine if you're eligible. So each province and territory, with exception of Quebec and I believe Nunavut, do not have these programs, but all the other territories and provinces do. And so basically, these programs are um, to get qualified foreign nationals um, to reside or to immigrate into their provinces or territories in order to help with any like um, like if they need certain tradespeople, for example, or to help with like an employment uh, words are evading me right now, but to help with their economy essentially. They have these programs to get internet or sorry foreign nationals to come and reside in their provinces or territories. So there are a lot of them. I don't know the exact number, but each province and territory that have these PNPs have I would say around 8 to 10, maybe on average. So there are a lot of them. And so unfortunately, I would not be able to discuss all of them within this workshop because there's just far too many and we don't have the time. Um, What I can say though is that each program in these provinces and territories that offer them have their own unique eligibility criteria. So as you can see here, um, if you do get a nomination from one of these provinces or territories, you will get 600 points. On top of the other points you will already have. And I'll go over what these points are in just a minute. But basically, judging from past rounds of invitation, and I'll also go over that in a sec, if you get 600 points, then you'll most likely get an invitation to apply for permanent residency. Um, so with that, let me go ahead and just go over the ways that you can apply for it before I go over the points system and the rounds of invitation. So the ways that you can apply for express entry, there there are two basically. So you have the express entry process and the non-express entry process. So let's first look over the express entry process. So as you can see here, the first step is to make sure you qualify for a PNP in the province or territory that you want to live in, and for one of the three programs managed through express entry. Um, okay. So you would need both, right? You need to satisfy the criteria for um, the criteria for the PNP, and then you'll also have to satisfy the criteria for the one of the three programs that I went over at the beginning of this presentation through express entry. The second step is to contact the province or territory and apply for a nomination. So you would create an express entry profile, and then what you would do is you would select the provinces or territories that you're interested in. And then the provinces or territories, they have departments that look over the pool in the express entry, and they filter by um, individuals who have selected their province or territory to live in. And so they would find these applications, and then they would sift through the information that they've provided, and they would then determine whether or not that applicant is eligible for one of their PNPs. And if they are, they may send them an invitation or um, well, an invitation. And so a nomination, sorry. And then you would get the 600 points from them. And again, if you got 600 points, then it's almost pretty much that's pretty much good to go for um, like an invitation to, or sorry, that's pretty much enough points that you would need to apply for permanent residency. Um, so if they find you and they you they you satisfy the requirements, then they'll send you a notification of interest, and then you would just contact them for a nomination. Uh, and then the third step is to update or create your Express Entry profile and to show your nomination. So again, you'll be awarded 600 points. That will help you get invited to apply. And then the fourth and last step is to wait to receive an invitation from IRCC to apply for permanent residency. And then if you get one, you go ahead and apply online. So as you can see here at the bottom of the slide, the processing time for this way of applying is about 7 months. All right, so through the non-express entry process, the first step is to make sure that you qualify for a PNP of the province or territory that you want to live in. The second step is to contact the province or territory and apply for a nomination. And then the third step is, if you're nominated, is to apply for permanent residency online. Okay, so one of the key differences between the express entry and the non-express entry process is the processing time. So applications through express entry are typically processed within 6 months, um, or 7 months, I should say. And they are faster than applying through the non-express entry process. Ultimately, the better option depends on your profile, your eligibility, and your long-term goals. If you have a strong CRS score, and again, I'll go over that in a minute, and meet the federal program criteria, the express entry might be more advantageous, like the first one that I went over. If you prefer a specific province's criteria, um, or have unique circumstances, then the non-express entry application process might be a better fit. All right, so let's go over to the CRS, or the Comprehensive Ranking System. So this is the scoring system that I had mentioned earlier. So it's the points-based system IRCC uses to assess your score um, and rank you in the express entry pool. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So here's the CRS page on IRCC's website. And so let me just over each of the factors here. All right, so the points that you get in CRS include a score, like a core set of points that are up to 600 points, and then a set of additional points, which is also up to 600. So the total score will be out of 1200. So the points you get, well, let's go over the core human capital factors here. So core is you got skills and experience factors. You have spouse or common law partner factors, which include their language skills and education. You got skills transferability and which include education and work experience. And then at the bottom here, you'll notice the additional points, which are like a separate from the core, and additional points will get you up to 600 points. So you have like, you got the Canadian degrees or diplomas. Um, you'll notice at the top here that I went over, there's like a little blurb here which goes over the job offers. So they used to accept job offers, but no longer do. And this was in an effort to reduce fraud. Um, so a job offer could have garnered, got you an extra 50 to 200 points. And so the change was likely to decrease, sorry, the change will likely, what has actually decreased the lowest score given to an ITA in an ITA in future rounds. So for more, um, so that's what's happening with, or that's what's happened with the job offer. Now, IRCC is considering a revamp of the Express Entry program, and this was one of the items that might be considered again as far as like being included, like reintroduced, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. None of the things that have been suggested have come into effect. Like they so IRCC is really in the preliminary stages at this moment with regards to the Express Entry revamp. So, but I just wanted to mention that this might come back, a job offer, and the points that you would get might be reintroduced when the Express Entry program is revamped. Okay, so yeah, so you have the French language skills, which will give you an extra 50 points. Post-secondary education in Canada, 30 points, and then a PNP nomination, 600. Um, so there's that. Um, Let me just quickly go back to my slides here. All right, here's just a little bit of a breakdown of the CRS. So you'll notice that there's two columns here. There's one for single applicants and one's with a spouse. And you'll notice that the single applicants would get more for a specific factor than one that has a spouse. And that's because those with a spouse can use the points that they get from their spouse in their application. So you'll notice here the spouse factors, and these are the points that an applicant could get from their spouse in their application. Also like to bring your attention to the age factor. Um, well, it doesn't show it here. It does show on the page that I was just on, And let me just quickly go back to that because it is important to show. So my apologies for that. I should have stayed on that page for a little longer, but here we go. So here's the page that I was just on, right? Now for each factor, they have a breakdown of that factor. So just at the bottom here. So for example, the core or human capital factor, you have the points breakdown of that core or human capital factor. When you click on that, it goes over the factors and how many points you can get for each one. Now you got the first one here was age. And the maximum number that you could get for a single, if you're single, is 100. Then if you scroll down, you'll see here at sorry, not this is with a spouse, not single. It's 100 if you have a spouse. It's 110 if you're single. So if you scroll down here, you'll find at this age or this this age range, that where you can find, this is where you'll find the maximum score that you can get. So if you're between 20 and 29, that's where you'll get the most points for age. And the older you get, the lower the score goes. And this is because the older a person is, the less time that they're able to, the less, uh, that would mean that they have less time to work in the Canadian economy. And um, and pay taxes and contribute to the economy and help it out. So the younger a person is, the more time they have to support the Canadian economy. So that's why you would get more points as a younger person than you are an older person. And so if you would just go down to each of the other factors, you'll find a breakdown with those. So it's kind of you know, something that's kind of nice to take a look at and just familiarize yourself with if you are considering applying for permanent residency down the line, just so that, you can maybe prepare yourself for the application. Maybe you can do things right now that would get you those extra points. Another useful tool, and I'll just quickly stop sharing for a moment here and get to that tool, is the CRS calculator. So instead of going over each factor that I was just on right now, or the page that I was on right now, instead of going over each factor, what you can do is use IRCC's CRS calculator to figure out what your score is or will be in the future. So here it is. This is the calculator, or this is where you'll find the calculator on IRCC's website. And again, they mentioned that they're no longer accepting any more job offers, or job offers wouldn't be uh, they wouldn't award applicants any points, is what I should say. And then if you scroll down a little more, you'll get to the calculator. And I'll show you what it looks like here. So I'll just select random answers here. So I'll go never married. Let's say we're 25. What's your highest level of education? And this is in which you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, certificate, or you had an evaluation of a foreign credential. And let's say the highest credential that this person received was a bachelor's. And then they ask what kind of Canadian degree, diploma, certificate did you receive? And then you would indicate here what you got. So let's say it was like a post-grad certificate. And then underneath that, you'll get to the language test results. Let's say this person did an IELTS test and he did fairly well. So they did that, and then here. Normally people don't have more than one, so we'll say not applicable for that answer, that question. For work experience, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have? A lot of international students get a 3-year PGWP or post-graduation work permit. So let's say it was 3 years. And then in the past 10 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? So let's say it's 1 year. And then do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province or territory or federal body? Um, let's say no. I think that for most international students, that would be no. And then do you have a valid job offer supported by an LMIA? And for that, we would say no. Do you have a nomination? Let's say no. And do you or your spouse or common law partner have at least one brother or sister living in Canada who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident? Let's say yes. And then after that, you can calculate your score. And so it goes over each of the factors and how many points you got in each of those factors. So as you can see here, we got 416 points for the core factors. Skill transferability factors, we got 76, and then 30 for the additional points. Coming to a grand total of 522, which is good. And I'll show you why in a sec, why that's good. So and before I move on, again, this is a very useful tool because it doesn't only give you like the points that you have right now, but it gives you the points that you'll have in the future. So you'll have an idea as to what your circumstances will be like in the next 3 years, or I should say by the time you are ready to apply for permanent residency. And you'll be able to input that information into this calculator, like what your life will be like in 3 years from now, or what by the time that I say 3 years because, like, again, the PGWP and a lot of international students get a 3-year PGWP, but I should be saying by the time you apply for permanent residency, because a lot of you that are on the call right now or that are watching might be in their first semester of their program. So it might not be 3 years from now. It might be 4, 5, 6 years from now. So by the time you're ready to apply for permanent residency, this is a really useful tool because you can input that information, the information that will be or true 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now. And so you'll be able to get an idea as to how many points you'll have by that time and whether or not you need to make some changes, because it might not be 522. It might be 480, which is not that great. Now, you should also understand that that's today's points. We don't know what the points will be like in the future, or like what the lowest points that an individual got an invitation to apply, um, how many points that was. Like, we don't know how much what that'll look like in the future. It might be that 480 will be a really good score that far into the future. We also don't know what the express entry program will look like that far into the future. So those are things that you also have to think about. But nonetheless, the calculator is a very useful tool. So with that, what I want to do is show you the like the rounds of invitation. So let me just quickly stop sharing my screen, and I will load up the rounds of invitation website. Oh, that's the presentation there. Just a sec. All right. So here are the rounds of invitation. I just Googled IRCC rounds of invitation and I got to this page here. So you'll notice the types of rounds of invitation, which are here in the middle. The invitations to apply, like that were issued, the number of invitations to apply that were issued, and the lowest ranked candidate that was invited out of all, let's say these 5,000 invitations that were issued. The last ITA or invitation to apply that was issued, it was issued to an individual or a candidate that had 382 as their score. So that's what this means here. But this is for French language proficiency, and I'll go over each of the round types in a sec. Um, but and what the eligibility criteria are for each one of those. But 382 is fairly low out of the rest of the scores that you're or the round types that you see here. CEC is generally the highest one, like the highest score that you would need to be eligible for or to get an ITA for. You'll notice that the last round here for that was 2 days ago, and 1,000 invitations to apply were issued. At the lowest scoring candidate was had 523 as their CRS score. All right, so just going to go back to my screen here, or my slides. So here are the rounds of invitation that I was talking about just now, and as you can see at the top there, there's about 4 to 8 a month. In July, there were 8, and there were a total of a little over 4,000 ITAs in July within those 8 rounds of invitation. So you have category-based rounds of invitation, and they're sent to candidates in the pool who are eligible for specific categories. And right there underneath is the list of categories that are at this moment valid or active. These have changed. Um, there weren't always 10, and there weren't always these 10 that you see here. So this can change in the future. But as of now, we have 10, and these are the 10. So let me just go to IRCC's page that goes over each one, and I'll show you why I want to in a sec. Oh, I think I can just go back to that page here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here's the IRCC's page that goes over each of those categories. Okay, it's right up here. And if you scroll down, these are the 10 that I showed on my screen there, on my slide. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll be able to select each of those categories. So if you're interested in the French language proficiency category, when you click on it, it'll tell you how you'd be able to be eligible for it. So here are the 2 items or bullet points. You must have a French language test that shows a minimum score of 7 in all of the 4 language abilities in the Niveau de Compétences Linguistique Canadiens. And then you also have to meet all of the requirements and the instructions for that round. So if you click on that, you'll get to the instructions. So this one is a fairly straightforward. It's like there aren't many things to satisfy. So if you do have strong French language skills, you might want to do this, do the test, and then hope for the best. You have the healthcare and social services occupations, and so it's a little more expansive. There are a few more things that you have to consider. So first one is you have to have accumulated within the past 10 years at least 12 months of full-time work experience or an equal amount of part-time experience. And it does not need to be continuous. It has to be in a single occupation listed in the table below, and then in Canada or abroad. And then again, you have to meet the requirements for the instructions for that round. And again, this is hyperlinked, so when you click on it, it brings you to the page that goes over what they're talking about. And then if you scroll down a bit more, you'll get to the jobs that or occupations that are eligible for this category. And so again, going back, you'll see the NOC code here, right? So if you think that you're in a job that's animal, like would be considered an animal health technologist and veterinarian technician, then well, first you'd want to just make sure that you are in fact in that job or in that occupation. And the way that you would do that is, if you remember earlier, you just go onto the NOC, you search up this code, and you'll get to the description. And if that description matches your job title, then you can confidently say that this code is yours, and you can include that in your application. And then once this round of invitation, once the healthcare and social services occupation category is like when the next round comes up, then you'd be considered for that category. And I think um, that one wasn't that high. Like I think like for the points. The last one for the healthcare and social services occupations was back in, I just want to make sure that this is correct, that there weren't any other ones before this one. Yep. So it was June 25 or this year. There were 4,000 ITAs issued for this category, and the lowest score that was offered an ITA was 475. So that's a very achieve that's something that um, I don't want to say easy, but it's very achievable to get a 475 for a CRS for a score. So yeah, this is another useful tool because if you're finding that your score isn't that high, then what you might want to do is aim for one of these specific categories um, so that um, you don't have to have as high of a score. Um, so yeah, do consider taking a look at that because it might help you out in your PR application down the line. All right, so let me just go back to my slides here. All right, so that is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us using our contact form, which is right there in the middle. We also have our weekly drop-in sessions every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesdays are from 9:30 a.m. To 10, and Thursdays are from 3 to 3:30. And the links that you can use to get onto these drop-in sessions are on our link tree, and the link for that is right there. So take note of that. You might want to favorite that in your browser there, so that you can just go back very easily and register or hop onto one of our weekly drop-in sessions, and either myself or my colleague Sarah Edwards will be there to answer any questions that you might have with regards to immigration. We do also have an admissions advisor um, that can help you with any admissions related questions if you're considering, like, let's say, a second program. But not only that, the link tree is really a very useful page because it has a bunch of other useful information that an international student would want to have or know about. And we also post um, our off-campus events, like our trips, and our well, other information that would be really useful for an international student. So the link tree is something that all our international students should know about and access from time to time just to see what's going on. All right, so with that, please, oh, sorry, I'll just go ahead and end the meeting now, or end the, not the meeting, and stop the recording. I'll go ahead and stop the recording now. So I'll stop sharing my screen and do that.